Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to draft the award-winning CV. So this is my definition of a CV that is tailored towards successful assistantship and scholarship applications. So stay tuned as I share my screen. So as you can see on the screen, the very first thing you need to write is your full name. So your first name, your middle name, and your last name, or your first name, your middle initial, and your last name, and followed by your degrees. So you write your if you have only a bachelor's degree, you note that there. If you have some other advanced degree or degrees, you note that there as well. And after that, you write your phone number, your email address, and your physical address. So that's your street name. You don't need your flat or your apartment number. Your street name is enough. And the name of your city, the state, and the country. So after this, the next section or the very first section of your CV is the education section. So you don't need to start mentioning your date of birth or some unnecessary personal information. I see a lot of students write on their CV. So the first section that you would include on your CV for a CV tailored towards successful assistantship and scholarship applications is the education section. So for the education section, you write your most recent degree. Okay, so for instance, if my most recent degree is a Doctor of Medicine degree, I would note that there, the name of the university I got the degree from, and also the month and the year um, I was conferred the degree. And after that, I will list the other degrees I've had. So you start with your most recent degree and you list the other degrees you've gotten over the years as well. um, Aside the education section, you are to also include a certification and licensure section depending on the program you're applying for. If it is related to it, then you list them. But if the certificates you've had or the licenses you have are not relevant to the program you're applying to, then you don't need to list it. So I'm assuming that the programs you're applying for would be related to your the certificates or the licenses you have. So for that, you're going to put the name of the certificate or the training program and the name of the organization that issued the certificate as well, the month and the year the certificates or the licenses were issued, and this can be up to five or six depending on how many certificates or licenses you have, and ensure that it's relevant to the program you're applying to. So don't just list relevant certificates. And after this, the next section is the job or work experience section, for which you start with your most recent work experience. And for that, you list the job title, the name of the organization, the city, the state, the country. You It's also okay if you list name of organization, state, and country. You might not necessarily need to list the city, so that's not compulsory. And aside from the name of the organization and the location, you write your start and end dates, and you in bullet points you list each of your duties. Okay, so you start with your most recent job or work experience, list your duties, and from there you list the other work experience you've had and list your duties. So after that, you have your volunteer work experience section. This is beneficial for you to have it because it shows that you contribute towards like societal or community growth. Okay. And be truthful about this. If you don't have any volunteer work experience, you don't need to list that. So for the volunteer work experience, you put the title of like your position and the name of the organization you volunteer for, the state, the country where it's located, the start and end dates, and also list your duties. So, for instance, if you're a medical professional and you've organized medical outreaches, it's also under volunteer experience, and you can list the different things you did or duties you carried out during that medical outreach and the date the medical outreach took place. So the next section of your CV is a teaching or the teaching and research experience section. This is very important if you are applying for assistantships or scholarships, especially if you're applying for a teaching assistantship or a research assistantship position. So if you've taught before or you've lectured before, you can indicate here that, oh, instructor or lecturer, then the name of the institution, and note your exact duties and the start and the end dates. If you've not lectured before, but you've tutored undergraduate students, maybe tutorials and all, you can write tutor, the name of the university, and list your exact roles. Like, for instance, um, taught undergraduate medical students medical biochemistry, microbiology, and anatomy, and list the start and end dates. It's also essential that you list your projects, your undergraduate projects or your graduate project. That's your undergraduate thesis or your graduate thesis, the title of the thesis, what you did. Maybe you built a virtual model of something, you ran simulations, the data analysis aspect, just something short about it, and the fact that you delivered a presentation. And if there are other projects you were engaged in during your undergraduate years or graduate years, you can list them here as well, and list the different, like the title and the different other things you did regarding it, using bullet points. So the next section you're to include in your CV is the conferences and trainings attended. So you start with the most recent conference or training you attended, the university that organized it or the institution that organized it, the state and the country, and the start and end dates, or if it's a single date, you include it, and you list your previous or the previous trainings or conferences you've attended as well. And aside from this, the next section is your presentation section. Okay, some people have oral presentations listed separately from poster presentations because they have a good number of oral and poster presentations. So it's okay for them to like separate it. And some institutions will ask you to separate it on your CV because they will give you like a guideline to draft your CV according to how they want it to be. So if they do not give a guideline that states that the poster and the oral presentations have to be separated, you can put them together if, for instance, you don't have so many presentations. So, for instance, you have just 3 or 5 presentations and both oral and poster, you can combine them together. You don't have to separate it. But if they are much more than that, then you can separate it into poster and oral presentations. So, for the presentations, you write or list the title of your presentation, the organization or the conference you presented, the state, the country, the date. And after this, the next thing you're going to, or the next section you're going to write about is your skills section. And don't just write, oh, skills, the laboratory skills, analytical skills. Put that in a sentence. So with that, it looks good and it's um really nice to read it like that. So proficient in experimental design and diverse laboratory techniques, excellent communication, presentation. So ensure that you're writing it as a sentence and not just writing it as, oh, problem solving, analytical, organizational, like that. It looks better this way. So I advise you to draft it in this way, and you can put it in bullet points as well. So aside your skills section, write about the awards and achievements, and also indicates the organization name and the year you got the award. And if you've had leadership experiences before, you can list that as well, as well as your hobbies and interests. So aside from this, the next section or the last section on your CV would be your references, and you have to list up to 3 references. So you write the name of your lecturer or name of your professor, doctor, this and this. The position of the person, is he a senior lecturer, is he an assistant or an associate professor or a full professor, the department, the faculty or the college, the name of the school, the city, the state, the country, the phone number of your referee, and the email address. So this is how to draft the award-winning CV, which is a CV that is tailored towards successful assistantships and scholarship applications. And I hope this has really helped you. And if you have any questions, feel free to write them in the comment section or send us an email at agreateryou1@gmail.com, or send us a direct message via Facebook or Instagram. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel because we're going to be um, uploading more videos like this that will really help in your applications and in different academic and career spheres.
I'll pray to you with Dr. Mary Adebayo.
My name is Mary.
With Dr. Mary Adebayo.
And I'm going to be talking about positive thinking.